All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Adams Brothers podcast. We are joined here this evening by the baddest running back to ever play at the University of Kansas, Mr. Tony Get Sensation of Sands, who still holds the records out there at the University of Kansas. He is also the nephew of All-Star and Hall of Famer Michael Irvin from the Dallas Cowboys. The great Michael Irvin.
Florida's own Michael
I don't know why he got that garbage hat on anyway, but anyways.
I just had to, I had, sometimes you have to let your territory be known. They released the schedule and the Dolphins schedule don't have nothing with no pizzazz in it at all. Only time that y'all saw excitement with the Dolphins last year was when these boys here came.
And we beat you all. We beat you all too, didn't we?
But listen, y'all haven't seen that kind of excitement. Y'all ain't seen that kind of excitement at y'all stadium in a long time. Y'all must admit.
Yeah, but we saw it when it was needed, though.
Yeah. And mysteriously, we were still trying to figure out why your wife's phone just disappeared and went off the map.
With the video.
With all the videos of you on nothing. Well, at least we made it to the playoffs.
Oh, no, she got those saved, man. She got those saved, but she just couldn't use them because of the simple fact the boys did their thing. We didn't get all the way to the bowl, but the boys did their thing. We still got in the playoffs.
And you will never ever get to the big bowl game.
Listen, I'm telling you,
not with that garbage you all got out there in Dallas out there.
We just trying to, we trying to navigate through some money issues that we know we are going to have.
And you bring back Ezekiel Elliott. For what reason? He's washed up, man.
No, I think he got a little bit of tread to do what we would need him to do. And then he slimmed down. He looked good. Zeke looked good now. He done slimmed down a lot. Zeke looked real good.
It's a 1 year fix. That's all. He'll be gone. They'll cut him out next year.
Now see, but he would rather be cut by the Cowboys than to be cut by any other team in America. Cowboys, probably if he decide to retire, that's who he'll retire with, the Dallas Cowboys. Because guess what? We do it bigger. Y'all must admit, we do it bigger where we at.
We wish him a good long career.
You got to remember he's one of those running backs. So running back careers right now, not lasting long, and they're not getting paid at all. So
4 to 6 years.
Yeah, that's the life span of a running back in the NFL. And now they're looking the way the game has changed to a more of a wide open passing game. Yeah. The running back position has become obsolete.
Yes, it has. And then I think McCaffrey is the highest paid running back in the league right now. Yeah. And I don't think I know.
And Saquon Barkley is he's still trying to get one, but I think he'll watch out. He's gonna be on that back end to where he won't get that big deal that he's been hoping and wishing for. It just might not happen for him.
All right. Well, we got OTAs coming up here pretty soon here. And we're gonna see how both of our teams
play out. Yes.
Play out. That's right.
We'll see how we come out of camp. If both teams come out of camp healthy, and we hoping that is, and both teams get off to a great start, and hopefully at some point y'all will meet us in the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir, we will. And we're gonna win that again too.
That's right.
Hey man, so let's get down to it, man. We've been the hot topic this week has been about golfer Scottie Scheffler.
Scheffler, yes.
Scheffler. Yes. And his arrest and how he disobeyed the orders of the police, and he said that he didn't. And Jeff Darlington was supposed to allegedly a witness to what happened, and he said that the police officer, grabbed him and shoved him up against the car and put the cuffs on him and this and that. And the police are saying there's no body cam video, but there's a whole lot of unknowns here that, we the people out here have been trying to figure out what's been going on. Is there favoritism because he's a golfer? If the same thing if that golfer would have been a black person, would he have been given that same courtesy?
Let me give you a courtesy.
What do you think? What do you think, Tony?
We're in the NBA playoffs, correct?
Yeah.
And we got the Dallas Mavericks are in the playoffs.
In the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes. Well, with that being said, imagine Kyrie Irving in that situation. Okay. Pulling up to that scene, trying to get into the basketball arena, trying to get there before tip-off. And all of a sudden, he's trying to get around a death investigation. We from where we're from, we understand that you do not intrude into a death investigation that's being done by police officers. They're saying if that was Kyrie and Kyrie got arrested for an officer was on the ground that got hurt, would Kyrie have been able to go to jail, get out of jail in an hour? Not only that, but then the owner of the golf course was the one that went ahead and picked up Scottie Scheffler. So that lets you know we've been to flex our power here as the PGA, as the owner, because I'm quite sure this owner knows pretty much the mayor, everybody in that town because of his power. When you own a golf course, you have plenty of power in that town, and the PGA is there. They don't take the PGA to any golf course. You got to have a select a type of golf course. If that was Kyrie Irving, would Kyrie have played in that playoff?
No,
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think he would have played. I think the people would have been calling for his suspension. You would have seen all kind of trolls on social media making all kind of inappropriate comments, but I don't know. All he had to do was comply.
All he had to do was comply.
We would have heard
just
that
comply.
Word.
You know, that's the word.
That's a word we hear all the time, as Black Americans. We hear that frequently when a Black person is either murdered by the police or arrested. We hear that word comply so much, but that's the word that seems to be missing in this conversation here with the arrest of Scottie Scheffler.
You're not hearing it because if you look at this whole situation, the way this is playing out, it is playing out as if the police violated Scottie's rights, not Scottie violating a investigation. You listen, when you chose to go around that bus, if you see a lot of police cars out there, because there was a lot of police cars because of an investigation to where a bus that morning,
a death investigation at that.
You go around that bus. If one police officer and you knew you had to do tea time, you understood that there was tea time. Tea time was at 10 o'clock. I think Scheffler got arrested. He probably was in that line about 7 o'clock.
Somewhere around that time, yes.
Tea time is at 10 o'clock. I guarantee you, all he should have did when you say comply, roll down his window. Officer, listen, I'm Scottie Scheffler. I'm the #1 golfer in the world. I got tea time at 10 o'clock. Is there any way or anybody that you guys can call so that way I can get let in through another way, or I can get permission to come through this way to get to tea time? They would have called, probably would have called, hey, listen, we got Scottie Scheffler here. Or they probably said, yeah, we know you. Okay, hold on for a second. Let me move this barricade. Let me move this, and you just come around. Have I seen it done? I've seen it done on plenty of occasions. Plenty times, traveling with the NFL network, traveling with the league, you see it happens all the time. Because I'm quite sure he had a representative at the PGA that he get in touch with if he's late, if something was to happen. Because normally in these situations, you don't even be driving yourself, and the car that you are driving says, and they say the car had on it official. Now, this is what they're saying, that the car had official PGA on it.
Right.
That doesn't trump a death investigation.
No, it doesn't. It does
not trump a death investigation. So that still doesn't give you the right to really bypass the bus. Once you said that you was going to bypass that bus, You said, forget what they're talking about. I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm going around the bus. How many other cars? I'm quite sure there was other golfers in that line, I guarantee you, that complied.
Right.
That
and the person that was killed, he was a volunteer. The victim was identified as PGA Championship Tour volunteer John Mills. So if our condolences goes out to the Mills family. That he passed away. Trying to do his job. But yeah, go ahead, Tony.
And you when you chose to go around the bus that was involved in the situation, at that point, you had already set the stage in your mind, regardless of what they're saying, I'm going to do what I want to do. And we know if you was to go around a police car, a bus that's been stopped by police, and we call ourselves, we've been to go around, and we know we don't supposed to go around, how he was able to proceed, an officer on the ground, no guns drawn, okay, all right.
But I think that's what a lot of people got upset about because it was saying, I was reading the article, and it was saying that the police officer was dragged and his knee was scraped and everything.
He had to go to the hospital.
And all I could think about is, had this been a black person, I think he would have been executed. He would have been shot and killed.
And ain't no one playing the race card. We talking facts. So again, if you don't want to hear about it, then
people might say what they can say, what they want to say. This is my opinion, and I believe that had it been a black person, he probably would have been shot.
Well, ask us how many.
That's just my opinion.
How many of us have possibly been in those situations? I've been in that situation right in front of my yard to where I couldn't even get in my house. I had to wait on the corner. So, and this is, you have to, not even my house, but it was something going on in the neighborhood to where, ain't nobody moving. Nobody is moving regardless. I don't care what's going on. You're going to have to wait here. And then what? You better comply or this thing can get further. And if you don't want to go to jail, you comply. That's all it is. But on top of that, I haven't heard, and it takes me back to the Kyrie Irving situation. That's why I said that. I haven't heard some of these broadcasters that are on these networks that normally would have blasted Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Would have blasted Kyrie now. Kyrie would have been garbage right about now if that would have been him.
Oh, yeah.
No one is saying anything. Everything now to me is like it's point. If you listen to the words they said about the police officer, this is crazy because you can see how they start using certain words. He attached himself to the police car, to the car. He attached himself. So if I attach myself, then it's almost like saying I'm wrong because I attached myself to the car.
It's your fault.
And that's why I fell on the ground.
Yeah.
Not that, hey, and I know a police officer gonna hit that, he gonna hit that trunk, he gonna hit that hood. Hey, stop this thing, or slap on that window. He still drove as they don't know, anywhere from 10 yards to 20 yards, according to Scheffler, Jeff, he said he didn't know how far it was, whether 15, 20, whatever, 10. Regardless, once you preceded that car to move that car and there was a police officer there and that police get hurt, he luckily he got out. He lucky he was able to get out and get shoved against the car and not slammed to the ground.
And most people know when there's a police, when they trying to block you from going a certain area, they put the cars there. They got the lights on. They're supposed to be out there with their vest on. They reflective vest on.
And they did have vest on.
They had on vest. It was raining.
They're supposed to vest on. Possibly have police tape up, if they can, But I mean, how could you drive through an active police investigation and say that you didn't know that you couldn't proceed through that police investigation right there? How could you not?
There would have been, if this was in the NBA, this was in the NFL, there's no way you get arrested that day before a game, kickoff, tip-off, and you're able to play within hours. They're not going to, because they're going to say right now, the league is taking the stance that, hey, there's some things going on. We need them to take care of this before we could proceed to let this person play in the game. We are investigating it.
Yeah.
But right now, they're going to miss the game. We want that player to be able to get his legal situations taken care of. Yeah. It's almost as if he was praised when he got back to the golf course, because you heard him yelling his name when he got out of the car. It's almost like he was the hero. Somebody died. An officer got hurt. I was there. Like I say, normally, you ain't getting out of jail that fast if an officer got hurt.
No.
Yeah, and this officer had to be taken to the hospital.
Yeah. So he was definitely given special treatment. Make no mistake about that.
That's why I say if it was Kyrie, and I'm always using Kyrie because Kyrie was ostracized more than probably within the last year than any player that's been involved in any type of situation.
Or Draymond Green.
Draymond, if this was this, this my guy. If Stephen A, I haven't heard Stephen A say nothing in this situation. As far as the PGA should not, and he would have been, the PGA should not have let Scottie play. Period. You would have heard people say they picking in the NFL, they picking in the NBA. An officer was hurt. They are not respecting law enforcement officers, and he should have stopped. This officer got hurt.
They would have blamed Joe Biden. They would have blamed single mothers. They would have blamed everyone. They would have fatherless homes. They would have blamed everyone for what happened if that person had been Kyrie or Draymond Green.
And we read this stuff. It's not what
you
we're
see it
saying.
on the internet all the time.
We read the comments all the time,
You see this on the internet all the time. I mean.
And like you said, we were talking earlier, Whitlock was the only person that came out and said, well, he should have just complied. And he got roasted.
Oh, yeah, they went after Whitlock.
Comply. That's all you got to do is comply. When he said that, it's almost as if you took a bunch of dirt and you threw it in their face because it's the same word that they use. You can't use that word on us. We can use that word on you. But you can't use that word on us. And now you're throwing them. They saying they don't want to follow him no more. Listen.
When you say he got roasted by who?
By comments. You read the comments.
Oh, yeah.
The comments are just like unbelievable. I'm like,
yes, they are.
The man is just saying all he had to do is comply. What is wrong with that word comply? Hey, listen, just comply. Why? All I said, he should have rolled down his window, because I don't think at no point did he roll down his window. From what I'm hearing, I haven't heard.
Didn't say it in the article either.
If he rolled down his window and said, hey, listen, Scottie Scheffler, #1 golfer in the world, especially if they didn't know him. But I'm quite sure they knew it was the PGA going, because it happened right at the entrance of the PGA, the main entrance of where the players got to go. So they knew and your car officially said official. Oh, I guarantee that officer probably would have said, hold on for a minute. Let me see if we can get you to go a little bit further to the right, a little bit further to the left, or if we can get you turned around and we can get you guys in the right direction, because I'm quite sure you got to get in for tea time. It wouldn't have led to an arrest. What led to an arrest is that you did not follow the commands. Now you're saying one officer told you to come forward, the other officer came out of nowhere, told you to stop. Listen, and when there's no body cams, it plays itself that guess what? These charges will be dropped.
Oh, they're gonna be dropped.
Do you think it's like something like a rush to judgment right now?
Against the police.
When we do that, when there's a black person that's shot, just like the airman up in North Florida, which
we're gonna get to.
We'll get to that. When a lot of black people start saying this, the officer was wrong. There's a rush to judgment. Let them do their investigation. You don't have all of the facts, but what's the difference between the airman who was shot and killed and this arrest here? Shouldn't they wait for the facts to be presented?
Where's the Blue Lives Matter crowd at? That's what I'm wondering. I mean, the police are getting up. The police are under they're under attack big time, and no one is coming to their defense. It's like they just jump right on Scottie's side right up off the bat. And I don't know, I wasn't there, but I have some video here that I want to play, Tony, some sound bites. Yes, I want to play, not a video, but I have some audio of when Scottie was being arrested, and you're going to hear some from the police. You're going to hear you're going to hear the police. Okay. So I'm going to play this video, and this video right now is, make this right here to Facebook. This video is being used for journalistic commentary under the Fair Use Act of 1976. So I'm going to play that right now.
I'm back. I'm back.
You're game one, right?
Guys,
What do we tell you?
I'm staying back.
Here's the thing. Right now, he's going to jail.
Okay.
He's going to jail, and it ain't nothing you can do about it. Period. There's nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you have
First,
a question?
I'm media. I'm a reporter. Okay. So that's all.
That's fine.
I just want to make sure that's
okay.
known.
But you need to step back over here now.
No problem. You got it.
Okay.
And that is Jeff Darlington, and I believe Jeff Darlington works for ESPN. Am I correct? Right,
I think so.
Tony? I know he used to be with the NFL Network, but I know he's with ESPN now, and that's Jeff Darlington. He was there, and
he witnessed the whole thing.
He witnessed the whole thing. And I also want to play this. Yes, I also want to play this audio of Jeff when he was on a television show. He went on that morning and he was talking about that, what he had seen. And this is Jeff Darlington again.
A car pull around us that was Scottie Scheffler was in the car. To be very clear about the details here, Scottie Scheffler has been detained by police officers, placed in the back of a police vehicle in handcuffs after he tried to pull around what he believed to be security, ended up being police officers. They told him to stop. When he didn't stop, the police officer attached himself to the vehicle. Scheffler then traveled another 10 yards before stopping the car. The police officer then grabbed at his arm, attempting to pull him out of the car before Scheffler eventually opened the door, at which point the police officer pulled Scheffler out of the car, pushed him up against the car, and immediately placed him in handcuffs. Scheffler was then walked over to the police car, placed in the back in handcuffs, very stunned about what was happening, looked toward me as he was in those handcuffs and said, "Please help me." He very clearly did not know what was happening in the situation. It moved very quickly, very rapidly, very aggressively. He was detained in that police vehicle for approximately 20 minutes. The police officers at that point did not understand that Scottie Scheffler was a golfer in the tournament, nor, of course, that he is the #1 player in the world. Entering Valhalla.
Now, I just want to know, I mean, I understand what ESPN reporter Jeff Darlington said, but what does that matter when the police have you in custody about who you are? I mean, when did that matter? Actually, you know, the words that he's using about aggressive, you don't never see that when it comes to Black Americans, you don't see that. You don't hear that. And
Black
again,
athletes,
black athletes or whoever, black people like me or you don't see that. You don't see that.
And see, you don't see that compassion for it to see it from our eyes. Now they want people to see it from their eyes. So listen, he didn't. If you listen to that, he didn't know if it was security or the police, regardless of who it was. It was someone that was in authority to make sure that you don't violate a procedure. So that something wouldn't happen. So I guess if it was security, you're saying to yourself, "Oh, y'all peons, let me go around you." You found out once you went a couple yards. At that point in time, I'm quite sure that officer probably hit the car. You probably hit the car and the car moved, spent them around. He probably fell on the ground. Now we got a whole nother situation. And like you said, he lucky that those other officers did not draw their guns, because we know 9 times out of 10, in that case, you're thinking one of your officers just got hit by a car.
Right.
And this car still proceed in your area, still coming in your way. You know, these officers would have pulled their gun. I'm quite sure. And Jeff must be knew that was him. Either there had to be no tinted windows on the vehicle, because he said he passed us by as if, hey, that's Scottie. So he passed us by. He went around. He's also said that they gave the command. A command was given. So if a command was given, just comply to it. Pull that, roll down your window. Stop. You might have to get out. Hey, man, and I think with your car still in the position behind the bus, because obviously the bus wasn't moving. Let me get out, walk over here, officer. Hey, I'm, Scottie Scheffler, I'm number 1 golfer in the world. I got tee time. Is there any way that you can assist me so I won't miss tee time for the PGA? That officer understands what PGA is. They're just like an officer sitting out at the Super Bowl. They understand the importance of a Patrick Mahomes to get into the Super Bowl. And they know, and not only that, but they understand, because I've seen it play itself out on several occasions. When you have traffic backup, and you got guys that got to get on set, or you got to get on set for a show. All you do is roll up, and you done maneuvered. Hey, listen, officer, we got to be on the air at a certain time. Is there any way you could assist? Yeah, come on. Hey, let's move the barricade. They'll move the barricade. Hey, let's go up this way. Hey, they coming. The car coming. You got to let them. It's just that simple. I'm quite sure they would have found a way, but he didn't seem like he just didn't want to wait. I understand you got tee time, but you got to understand what just happened.
Use yourself as an example. When you went to the Ring of Honor, didn't they have police security details in place right there? Then same case scenario, right? If you need to get to the Ring of Honor, then you have to go through those police checkpoints.
That procedure was not going to be interrupted.
There you go.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. They made sure, regardless, that was going to take place, even down to some of my family members that drove. They drove behind the escort that we were in, but the people on the bus, everybody knew, hey, that's my family. So you got to make sure that they're, hey, Tony, we got it. Don't worry about it. They're gonna be taken care of. They're gonna make sure that they and they get in. You move. That's why I said when I'm looking at this, I'm like, this shouldn't have escalated to this far. From a standpoint of, I'm quite sure normally he should have been drove in, and that's normally how it is. You're driven in,
right? Or
you got contingency. Hey, why they didn't call you? Your person, your representative from the PJ. Listen, hey, we got an accident, a situation at the front. We need you guys to come around a certain way when you're getting up here, because the traffic is blocked up. Now, if the PGA didn't find themselves enough to do that, then shame on them. But in this case, I still look at it boils down to an officer was hurt investigating a death a hit by a volunteer that got hit by a bus that was carrying tourists to go fans to go see the PGA. Someone gets arrested, and within an hour and 10 minutes of how many? I think he got what, 3 or 4 felony charges.
Yeah.
You're released within an hour and 10 minutes.
And allowed to play.
So now I'm saying, here we go. Should he have been allowed to play that game, that tournament, in that same day with everything with felony charges on it? If the NFL know or the NBA know a guy got felony charges, they ain't playing. They suspended.
Right. But he don't even get due process.
No due process whatsoever. We don't even want to see it, Josiah. Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how they was the PGA itself. And it's almost like, okay, now are they glorifying that these officers got hurt, or are you saying, guess what? If y'all want us to come back to your city. See, this is what Louisville is worried about right now. Do the PGA come back to their city, come back to Louisville ever again because of this situation? That's why the mayor, Greenberg, made it clear. If our policies were violated, they will be very clearly dealt with appropriately.
That's what they say.
What I'm saying, he's saying that from the standpoint of policy. That means, guess what? Their officers
will face disciplinary action
if they violated any procedures where they violated Scottie's pretty much his rights.
His rights, yeah.
It's clearly saying it. If you read the articles, they're clearly saying that if his department violation of policies, that's their policies, it's gonna be handled appropriately. And that's coming from the mayor. That ain't coming from the chief of police. That's coming from the mayor. So the mayor is sending that strong, even down to the governor of Kentucky was contacted in this situation also.
Yeah.
So they're making sure that, hey, we're crossing all the T's and dotting the I's. And now you know it's been delayed, right? His arraignment been delayed 2 weeks.
I saw that. To June 2nd, I believe it was. Yes. I think it's delayed to June 2nd, his arraignment.
It is. Yeah, it is.
June, and just look for this. Just look for these charges. I don't know how you
be dropped. Most of them.
Because I'm looking online right now. It's saying charges laid against Scottie Scheffler are not being dropped, according to his lawyer, Stephen Romness. Whoever reported the charges were going to be dismissed was not accurate. Earlier today, his arraignment was delayed until June, but I think that's all smoke in the wind right now.
This is what he said. That he didn't say that they're not going to be dropped.
Right.
That they have not been dropped. He's saying that they haven't. He's saying right now they haven't been dropped. So if somebody's not reporting that the charge has been dropped, no, it ain't been dropped.
Right.
They just, we just fact finding to try to get everything lined up so that way we can proceed and say, come to find out, some policies were violated, and in this process, Scheffler would not be found liable for none of these charges, and the PGA will go on. And then the sad part about it, he's holding up he's a champion. He holds up the trophy. The PGA and no one is saying, hey, we're boycotting the PGA. No one is saying we're pulling endorsement deals from the PGA because they didn't act. If this was one of these athletes, African-American, brown skin athletes, and this took place,
we already know what the outcome will be, and that's all we try to tell our other brothers, our white brothers, that hey, that this is two justice systems in America, whether anyone wants to believe that or not. I know what time it is. No one can tell me, and I won't believe anything else. I'm sorry. I lived as a black person for 57 years of my life, and I know I've been told as a little kid, me and Daryl, to go back on our side of the tracks by the white police officer. But this time here, what we're talking about, Tony, it's amazing because the police are under siege right now by the same people that are always talking about de-escalation. Now, we talk about our civil rights groups. We talk about de-escalation all the time. No one wants to hear about de-escalation. But now I heard the word de-escalation from people that never would utter that word out of their mouth. They thought that was just something for someone else. But I heard de-escalation, training. We've been saying that where everybody been at. We've been saying that for the last 40 years now. Since the days of Arthur McDuffie.
I was sitting in a restaurant the other, what was it? I went to, when I called you and I said I was at the Texas Long. I'm sitting there at the bar next to one guy. He's explaining, I don't know if his wife, his girlfriend, whoever, about the situation. Say, yeah, those officers were dead wrong. The way they treated him, the way it took everything in me, everything I had in me, not to say, no, bro, the officers ain't corrupt. Why Scheffler couldn't be incorrupt? Why he couldn't just have complied? See, if I'd had that word complied to him, that would have ate him up. I said, no, I ain't gonna even get out here and get ugly with these folks. I'm just gonna eat my food because we know this system just is not. Look, this whole situation makes it even more clear. And no one is saying it's amazing that Whitfield, not Whitfield, but Whitlock,
who's usually anti-black on everything.
On everything. Whitlock ain't been let you breathe. Come out and say was the only one. And I was waiting on Stephen A to say something. And I don't think unless I missed it, I thought he was gonna say it on his private podcast. He didn't say anything in reference.
Well, he did say it, Tony. He did say, well, all he have to do was to comply. But he came right back and said about the officer was acting overzealous. And I'm like, okay, come on, folks. I mean,
where's all these words? And where's all these words? We're going to come back to this same situation, like you say, your next.
Yes, we will.
Where's all these words when all these police situations to where we encounter a police in a situation? Where is the overzealous, need training?
Should have complied.
That's
the word we hear all the time.
We should have just
complied. Why you just can't comply?
Right.
But
stop resisting.
Why didn't he just comply?
Now you getting tasered. And the first thing, you see him, he resisted. I ain't got no choice but to resist because you hit me with them bolts. So my body is shaking. Listen, it blew my mind. I looked at that whole scenario. I'm like, man. And you got to understand that, Scottie looks older than what he is. Scottie's only 27 years old.
Yeah.
Young man.
And he's probably a good person.
They say he's a quiet guy, good guy, but then sometime, he probably was running late.
Yep.
Probably was running late. Probably had to be somewhere. And at that point in time said to himself, listen, man, I got to get in. This is money on the line. So I can't be thinking. If these people, as Jeff Darlington said, he might have thought they were security.
I doubt that.
I mean, if you look at it, to be fair, if you pull up to, your place of employment and you see all these police cars, you might think that that's security to, in front of the stadium. You don't know if someone's been killed on the other side of that, but you might say, okay, well, this security, I need to get through here. You all holding me up. I could see somewhat, but still, when an officer tell you to comply, you should have complied.
You just got to comply. They tell you that. You listen. If officers tell you to stop, you better stop. I know in our neighborhood, in the hood, you best to stop because it's going to lead to some trouble.
You're going to get a serious beat down.
And one thing I was surprised about too, Tony, was how Jeff Darlington, and I like Jeff Darlington, how he was able to keep going over where the officer's at And they didn't throw him to the ground, because I done seen many reporters threw to the ground, and just average citizens, journalists and average journalists thrown to the ground by the police after they were told to stand back behind the line. I see it all the time.
Get back. And the man done told him, command, hey, get back. You started coming up trying to explain whatever you trying to explain, as if now you're his lawyer and you got to let them know that that's the #1 golfer in the world. They got a death investigation going. You think they're worrying about if this the #1 golfer in the world?
Someone lost their life.
They're doing their job. They're doing the detective. I'm quite sure the detective ain't there doing traffic detail. He's there doing an investigation on it. That's why he was probably there. He ain't doing no traffic detail as a detective. He's there for a reason. Whether he explained it and he didn't have to explain, once the police told you to stop, hey, comply, stop. You got to stop. You ain't been asking 1,000 questions. And we've been in the car sometime to where, hey, man, we got to get in. Hey, I don't care what you got to do. Go that way. Guess what we do? Wind up the window, go that way. We just say, okay, cool.
Right.
We tried it. He didn't want us to do it. Boom, we went on. We went on around because we know what it would lead to, and it's not going to be in our best favor. So, hey, listen, hey, man, take us down, driver, take us down that way. I was shocked that he didn't have a driver. That part there blew my mind, that he didn't have a driver to take him to and fro PGA. Now, if you wanted to get you a rental car and you do that, but normally in those instances, they have somebody that's taking you to and fro because of that type of situation, because they could communicate. That driver communicates with the communications on the ground at the PGA. Hey, I'm on my way with Scheffler. We're on our way. We about 15 minutes out. Tea time, I know it we'll make it. Oh, we just ran into the situation. What we got to do, the traffic is stopped. And I guarantee you, from this point on, he'll have a driver pulling up to a PGA from this point on. I guarantee it.
So before we move on to Roger, the Roger Forston case, I think I know the answer. Do you expect these charges to be dropped?
Will be dropped.
Most of them or all of them to be dropped?
Charges will be dropped.
Or reduced?
I don't see no. Charges will be dropped. I know listen, you know why they did? They delayed it to let it die down a little bit. Because they couldn't just come out today.
No, they couldn't.
And drop them.
And drop them charges.
Yeah.
Push it back
2 weeks go by.
They'll hope everyone be forgotten.
They'll be forgot about it. He done hosted the trophy up all over the place. You think it would have been a little buzz if those charges would have got it dropped today or tomorrow when he was supposed to go. I thought it was today that he was supposed to be, because they're saying he had to stay over. So I thought it was today, but then I read it was supposed to have been Tuesday, but now it goes all the way to June. They're going to let some time go by, and there's going to be some heavy communications between the governor, his attorney, the state attorney, and the district attorney. We can't have this.
It's bad publicity. It makes us look bad. We're going to lose money. It's going to affect our economy.
Yep. The PGA might not never come back because they don't treat our golfers good. Now, which one we want? We want a hurt officer or we want the PGA? You be the judge of it.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it's when you really, really look at the whole situation, it's unfortunate. No one never, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I watched him. I watch a little bit of golf every now and then. Like I say, Scottie Scheffler is probably a nice person, but he got caught up this time right here. And I just want the people out there that's watching that, all these background check people, you see how something like this can happen? And see, right now, with those charges, he can't even coach right. He can't even coach. He can't do anything right now.
He could not coach in some cities.
Right. Or go speak somewhere. And, you know.
Because of his, now, what we consider his past may catch up with it.
But it won't.
And that's why I told you, listen, if they drop them down, they're gonna be dropped down so low that all they're gonna tell them is do some. We're gonna have you come in, talk to a couple kids at these little pretty golf courses, and we're gonna drop these.
And we'll drop the charges.
And that's all I'm saying about those full background check people. This right here, take a good look at this. This could be your kid. This could be your son. This could be your daughter. This could be your niece or your nephew right here that happened to Scottie Scheffler. Would you want that to stay on their record? Would you want them not being able to coach or do something? So that's all I ask people to look. And, and like I say, sometimes God brings situations like this to light, to good people, to show the other people of what could come, what could happen to anyone.
And they say he's a nice guy, real mild-mannered guy, real respectable guy. Yeah. But like you say, this situation happened. Now, if this guy, number one golfer in the world, nice guy, have done everything by the book all his life, and all of a sudden one situation pop up and it hurts him from ever coaching, ever speaking,
mentoring kids,
like, and how these are some
following for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and like you said, because he was arrested, so and the majority of employment applications, anything, that's what they ask. Have you ever been arrested? Now, if you've been charged, that's a whole nother thing. But the first thing they ask you, have you ever been arrested? And then you have to explain, get your paperwork, and say why you was arrested. So right now, he's going to have to deal with that part of it, even though he's a golfer and it doesn't make it number one golfer in the world, made all the money. It'll still, now, but what we said, a guy like him, that'll be overlooked if he was to come to any city.
Yeah.
Right now, if he had to come to our city and had to speak at a function, man, that's overlooked.
Yeah,
that's overlooked. Yeah. Ain't no we've been holding. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, that's not gonna happen.
And that's all we want people here. That's why I want people here today watching to see the inequality here. I mean, they can disagree with us respectively, and that's cool. I'm good with that. And again, no one here trying to play no race card. We're just showing you exactly that two-tier justice system that we have in America that people try to deny exists. Okay, we know it's there. As a black person, as I said earlier, I lived in this black skin for 57 years now. So I know what I saw. And again, when most of the time, Tony, as you said earlier, once they ask you, have you been arrested, as a black person, that usually disqualifies you right there. Right in the back of their mind, they have that in the back of their mind that, hey, he or she is a bad person and you're out of here. You can't, I hear you, but I don't hear you. And you're pretty much gone right from that point.
Doesn't mean you're a bad person, but you don't fit the criteria we're looking for.
That we're looking for.
That's what you're going to hear.
We don't want to get into the details of why you was, but if you was arrested, that
fact is it's like, on your record.
It's on your record.
That's all we can go by.
And it's like you say, and we're just trying when you look at it, just to let people understand that. Listen, there's no way, and I'm saying it because we've been always on this other side of it. To me, the PGA should not have let it play. I'm just being as candid and open as I can. I don't think he should have played in that tournament because of all the circumstances that surrounded that situation. We're talking about a death.
Should have been disqualified.
Yeah.
Listen, hey, right now, Scottie, I think it's what's in the best interest of the PGA, because that's the word they always use.
That's it.
In the PGA is right now to let you deal with your legal situation first.
That's right.
PGA will go on, but we cannot allow you to play in the PGA because of everything that's surrounding the situation. You got felony, you're being accused of felony situations.
Innocent until proven guilty. You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. You're supposed to have your day in court. Listen, but vice versa when it's us, we're guilty and we have to, until we have to go to court
and we
then prove ourselves.
We leave the courtroom. We guilty, even if we found
there you
innocent,
go.
we're still guilty.
Yeah, because it's gonna follow you the rest of your life. Whatever you're trying to do, it's gonna always be brought up as part of your background. I mean, that's a word we heard here in Deerfield Beach now for probably the last 5 years now about backgrounds. So
backgrounds and
it can ruin you here in Deerfield Beach.
And it like you say, and it should be something that everybody should be everything should be looked at individually on an individual basis. We're taking you're taking problems and you're putting them at each individual's door. Everybody's situation should be looked at individually.
And
yes.
Let's move on to 23.
Anything else you want to add on that, Tony? Because we're gonna move on to
let's proceed on.
Yeah, let's move on.
It rolls right into it.
It rolls right into it. The 23-year-old U.S. military airman Roger Forston, a senior airman, he was shot to death by police at his apartment near Halberst Field in Florida earlier this month.
Oskaloosa.
He was on the phone. He was on the phone FaceTiming with his girlfriend,
and I have that audio.
And Wayne has the audio, and he was on the phone FaceTiming with his girlfriend, like most of us do. You know, most of us do with our wives, our girlfriends, our kids, our grandkids. He was on the phone FaceTiming, and he heard this loud bamming at the door. You know, and you know he's home alone with his dog, and he heard this loud banging on the door. So the first thing, you know, you home by yourself, you're like, man, you startled. Me personally, I would go and grab my gun too.
I come to the door with my gun in my hand. Like, I don't care who
somebody trying
knocks.
to break in my house or whatever, blah, 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 you know, this and that. And then he opened the door, and as soon as he opened the door, there's a deputy there who allegedly went to the wrong door and then shot him 6 times and killed him. And his dog, if you look at the video, his dog was standing right over him when the deputy shot him. And the animal activists around the country went crazy because I mean, not only they're concerned about the airmen, they were concerned about the dog too. You know?
What they said, the dog could have got shot.
No, they were just concerned. They were concerned about not only about the airman, the black young man that got killed. They were concerned about the dog or what kind of tragedy the dog would go through. So they were really concerned. From what I read, they were concerned about both of them.
Oh, they should have been.
You know,
everyone should have been. I mean, you got a guy that's serving his country in his home, and the thing is,
never been arrested before in his life.
And the thing is, it was, according to news reports, it was a lady called the police, and I think more information needs to be given out on the woman that called police, not to try to hurt her or anything, but she's allegedly sent the police to Airman Fortson's house, and they came mistakenly. That's what Attorney Ben Crump has been saying, that they came to the wrong house. Now, we heard that before in Texas. Botham John, Amber Geiger came to and just bust in Botham John's apartment and killed him. He was eating ice cream, and she killed him. And this, to me, this is the same thing that has happened. It's pretty much the same thing. The cops came to the wrong door. He came to the door. If you go on our Adams Brothers podcast Facebook page, I put the picture of him. He has his gun in one hand and he's holding up his other hand to tell the officer not to shoot. But the officer pulled his gun and just shot. Now, some people gonna say, now you got those pro-police people, the same people who talking about let Scottie go. Those same back the blue people now are saying that the guy was wrong to come to the door, saying the scenarios he should have did. Again, whenever I come to my door, I have my gun either behind my back or it's there with me. I will never open my door without my gun in my hand. I don't care who comes there.
But in the state of Florida, he has the right to have a gun in his hands, correct?
It's a stand your ground state.
And the council doctrine.
The council doctrine as well. You don't have to retreat in your own home.
No.
So I'm trying to figure out if he has, and I'm quite sure the officers have taken training. So I'm quite sure if he opened the door, I can see if he opened the door and the gun was directly pointing at him, and now you got a split decision to figure out some. But when you opened the door, you didn't even process, because you didn't, at the point when you knocked on that door, you didn't know what was going to be on the other side of that door. You stood off enough that way, hey, listen, I don't know what's going on, but you didn't hear, I'm quite sure, a lot of rumbling going on in it. So let me just knock on the door. He comes, gun down. At that point, the gun, he's not a threat to you because he has his gun. I'm quite sure we've seen at some of these rallies, these boys had these shotguns in their back windows.
Right. Yeah. In the open carry states. In the open carry states, they assault weapons right in front of the police.
Yeah, why didn't he remove himself from the line of fire? Why didn't he had the wall there? Why didn't he move to the side of the wall there? You know, and then hop on the radio and take cover instead of just firing. You know, this man is in his own home. He has a right to protect him and his family, his dog, and everything. You know,
and he thought he heard a noise was why he grabbed his gun. He kept. I think he might have heard the police. You know, when the police come, I don't know if anyone.
They're not nice. They bang.
Oh, they bam.
They were.
I remember they came to my door one time, and it was like they were like for someone else, but they were about to tear my door down. I came with my gun, but fortunate enough, I saw them on my camera. I saw them one time before they came in my gate. I'm looking at them in my house. I hear my gate come open. I'm looking. All I see is a police officer with a gun. He got his gun out. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What the hell is he doing in my yard with a gun out? I would have been back there. He could have shot me back there in the back.
Yeah.
People just don't know how close they are to death in their own home. And when I came out there, he tried to explain to me.
Especially when you're black or African American, it's shoot first and ask questions later, you know.
I was dealt like that in Deerfield one time. I kid you not. I've never, I'm from Fort Lauderdale. I've never seen death until I seen the eyes of an officer. I'm riding in Deerfield. I'm getting ready to, I had just dropped off. I had just dropped off Hale somewhere, and I was leaving out, and I'm going, and I waited because I didn't want to proceed out because the police was coming up the street, so I waited. So he stopped. At this point in time, okay, well, he don't want to go. Let me proceed out. But then he turned me, so I said, well, let me slow down, give him time enough to run my tag. Allowed him to run my tag. He hits the lights. I pull over. Lucky where I pulled over, it were people there. He jumps out, guns drawn. I'm looking like, what the heck is going on? So when I proceed out, get on the ground before I blow you. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Luckily, people had came around. When he ran my tag, this is how and his commanding officer saw that it was more personal. This is around the time when stuff was going on in Texas with my uncle, and at the time the truck I had was registered to me and him. One of the officers that came knew me. Well, the captain knew me. He said, "Hey, what you doing? What?" He said, "No, because I was getting ready to do an event for the sheriff department, a camp for West Side Park the late officer that ran the park.
Harrison.
I was getting ready to do that on that Saturday. This happened on a Tuesday, and the captain told him, "Hey man, leave. I'll see you over at the station." He pulls back out, rolls down his window, and said, "I can't stand the effing Dallas Cowboys anyway." So I'm looking at him. I'm like, "Did you hear that? I know you heard that because I heard it loud and clear." And the commander looked and gave him the finger like the goat. I'm like, see, that type of stuff get us killed.
That's personal.
And luckily, I knew at that time was the Democratic Party, Miss Jackson, Gloria Jackson, at the time that she was, and we had a Democrat. So I called her. I said, "Hey, listen, I need you to call the sheriff at the time." That's who the building is now named out. And she said, "Why, what happened?" I told her what happened. And I be doggone, that officer was there, his captain was there, a couple of them was there, and he had to give a formal apology. I say, "Listen, it ain't it ain't about the apology. I says, at any split second, you could have took me.
Took his life, took your life.
Away from my family, man, because of your attitude. I say it had to be personal because of what you said. I say your captain, he said, hurt you, clearly.
And people don't realize this, man. You know, like, you could be coming home, just taking an innocent ride home, man, and get pulled over and guns drawn on you. We were coming, this is like when we were like 16 years old. We went to the skating ring up in West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
We were coming home from the skating ring. Went skating. And as soon as we got off of I-95 on Hillsborough, we turned and came down turned by McDonald's, and we came down Martin Luther King, made a right, and went down to West Side Park. You know, they were having the dances down at West Side Park back in those days. We just rode through, and we left, and by the time we rode through there, the police pulled us over, like 3 or 4 carloads, 3 or 4 units.
Deerfield Police at
Deerfield
that time.
Police Department pulled us over, and we were headed east on Southwest 2nd Street, and we ended up pulling over into our uncle George Moore's yard. We pulled into his yard, and they had their guns drawn on us.
To the back of our head.
To the back, in our faces. 357 Magnum, 9 millimeters, and this and that. All we did, we just coming from the skating rink, and my uncle and his wife, our Aunt Maisie, looked out of the window, and they called our parents, and they got the guns drawn on your kids over here, blah blah blah, and we come out, and somebody had, they were looking
someone
for
had a gun in a car.
Somebody had a gun.
And they just picked us out.
We just rolled through. We're from Deerfield.
My description, a truck fit the description of mine, was stolen. And then this is why I came back at him. I said, oh, it's amazing how a truck fit my description was stolen, but you knew my tag enough to know that one of the owners played for the Dallas Cowboys. I said, so how does that equate to the same? I said, it don't, no. I said, don't equate to the same situation. You knew, I said, I gave you time enough to run the tag just to find out that the tag itself wasn't stolen. Because he was trying to say, oh, I must be putting a wrong. No, you didn't put it wrong, because you when you backed out of there, that told that you didn't put the wrong tag in. You put the right tag in. Now you're trying to justify it. And it's like you say, when I looked at that young man, because our family lived through that same situation, to where one of my nephews was shot up on 95 some years ago. He was shot and almost lost his life, and we had to, as a matter of fact, we hired my guy. He handled the case, and it was chaotic, man. Just to see it, it was mistaken identity. And it almost cost him his life. And it's just so sad that, like you said, life is just so easily snuffed out. And what all law enforcement got to say is that, guess what, they fear for their life. And that's why I say this situation is going to play out because of the laws in the state of Florida when it comes to law enforcement now. Yeah. What all the law enforcement officer has to say.
Yeah. And I have a video here that I'm going to play. And this video here is of Roger Forston's girlfriend, and she recorded it on FaceTime with his encounter with the Okaloosa County, Florida sheriff deputies. And his girlfriend and her attorney have instructed Attorney Crump to release portions of the FaceTime video that was recorded at the time of the tragedy. And I'm going to play portions of that video right now. It's probably about 3 minutes long. And then I got another video of the video that was at his funeral. And that was Reverend Jamal Bryant preached a excellent sermon. I was watching it on Friday, but I want to play this video right now of Airman Roger Forston and his girlfriend that was recorded on FaceTime. This is when he was shot.
Do not move. Stop moving. Stop moving.
could you shoot somebody? Tell them not to move.
Open that door. I haven't even gone inside the building yet. Let's go. Let's go. Sheriff's office, everybody else, make the ground snow. Watch the door around, go left. On the ground, on the ground. Going over and pushing? Go ahead. Go. Yep. Sheriff's office, make the ground snow. Go. Move up. Sheriff, put it right here. Sheriff's office, open the door. Hold up. I'm coming from Sheriff's office. Sheriff, open the door. William, move. Clear. You got any trauma? I got some trauma kids. Nope. You got which? Yeah, we got it. Hey, I got one of the carpets. You're gonna plug wall. Yeah, mine's out there by the field. Go get the game of the trauma kit, please. I have one in my vest. Yeah. One over there. The chest. I can get one right here. You start moving it. Yes, that counts. Hey, Florida. Echo 14 on one. You're wrong, she tricks. I have no viewers on here. Hey man, stay with us. Rolling for you. No, got it. No. You got exit. Exit one in the back. Okay. One. Got the second one, two. One try to get up. Two in. Shoulder side. Roll ready. 3 on the arm. Roll. Watch that. Got no exit. Related dispatch, you got 3 gunshot wounds, 1 exit. Maybe more, man. He's shot up. We have 3 gunshot wounds in the chest, 1 exit wound. Count 6. Okay, you got that 6 gunshot wounds. Just keep going. Who's that from?
6 gunshot wounds.
Hold on, let me look at my back.
I'll have here, get down to the ground.
That's fine, but we'll just hit the rebound.
So that's pretty much it. That shows the EMS working on Airman Roger Forston. And I mean, you can hear him moaning in the background. This video is being used for journalistic commentary under the Fair Use Act of 1976. Fair use.
But,
and
I'm trying to figure out, I'm listening to this, man. How could you shoot someone 6 times and tell them not to move, Don't move.
Because
how could you shoot someone 6 times and tell them not to move?
The body's gonna naturally
move.
You ain't gonna shoot me and my body I'm just sitting here limp. Your body's gonna move because it's hurting. It's just a natural reaction of a hurting body. How you telling me not to move?
Not to move. And then when a police officer shoots someone, they're supposed to radio in for the paramedics to come, and they're supposed to start rendering CPR ASAP. First aid. They're supposed to render first aid. Were they doing that, or was he still holding the gun? It sounded
like they were telling him to hold on. They were waiting, trying to get EMS
you're supposed to
there.
Immediately. Okay. I understand you have to clear the house and this and that, but I'm sure it sounded like another officer was there with him.
Oh, it was.
Okay, you clear the house
because
and then
he told them to hold up. I'm okay. So
right.
They had guns out.
Right. So you're supposed to render first aid until the paramedics get there, and you can rush him to the hospital.
I thought I had heard, and maybe I wanted. Did he say it? Okay, when his action was anybody else, did he say, "Hey, get on"? Did he tell somebody else to get on the ground?
No, it was no one else there. Okay. He was trying to clear the house, I guess, like going from room to room. Now had to be another officer came, and he must have told him, because he must have had his gun out. He told him, we're okay, or something of that nature. You go back and listen to it, but he was overzealous, man. I mean, you come up in someone's house and kill someone.
Apartment where he pays rent, and he got executed in his own home.
Yeah, to watch that.
And apparently at the wrong address.
And nothing will happen to him. Even if he does get indicted, I guarantee you they will find a pro-police jury.
They'll send it to the grand jury. They won't even go there.
Right. Or if they do get to court, they will ask for, this is the new cue. They will ask for a bench trial by the judge.
Yep.
And the judge will rule. And the judge will throw the case out like they did all the other cases, most of the cases where they went in front of the judge. The judge played it off. He let it went for some days.
That was Michael Uson, wasn't it?
That was with the case down in Fort Lauderdale, where the guy was walking with the gun over his shoulders and
works for the Broward Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, and the judge threw the case out, citing some maybe stand your ground or something and that's why I say they use stand your ground when it's convenient for them. But this guy was in the comfort of his own home. And you got to understand a lot of times why people see the police and be reluctant to even cooperate with them or answer the door. I mean, you see something like that? I mean,
well, let me tell you a story. There was some gunshots here. This was before we started podcasting too, by the way.
Yeah.
It was like 3:30 in the morning. I heard like 15 or 16 rapid gunshots. I got on the phone. I called 911 and I told the 911 call taker that I just heard 15 or 16 rapid gunshots. It was not on my street. It was north of me, like blocks away. And I didn't see any suspects. I didn't see any cars. I said, I want to remain anonymous. I don't want anybody coming to my house. And they said, okay, thank you for your call, sir, blah, 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 this and that. And, I'm laying in the bed, 3:30 in the morning. All of a sudden, I see lights shining through my windows. It was like 6 or 7 carloads of cops. They're coming with the lights shining all in my house and knocking, banging on the door. I opened I opened my window and I was like, "Hey, what's going on? Can I help you?" And the cop puts his hand on his gun and draws his gun and tells me to come outside. Start yelling at me to come outside. Now, just mind you, I'm in my home. What if I would have, I would have had, I'm here seeing lights and I open the window with my gun in my hand and they would have shot through the window and killed me just for me calling 911 for some gunshots in my area.
Something like you said that.
And then I go outside. I go outside and the guy was, telling me, I was like, why did you come to my house? I just told the 911 dispatcher. I didn't want no one to come to my home. And then, he got real smart at the mouth at me and, just go back inside the house. And they left. And then I emailed the sheriff and I told the sheriff what happened. Sheriff Tony sent down Captain, it wasn't Captain Wright. It was, I forget his name, good as I know it. But anyway, it was him. And I met with the current chief now, Hofstein, and Captain Brimlow, Chief Brimlow. They all came down and I presented my case and told them everything and, this and that. And, nothing really came of it though. It was a teachable moment, but the bottom line is I called and requested to be anonymous and they came to my house with hands on guns and drawing guns and talked to me any kind of way. And I didn't like that, and then, and you can't get the video. They wouldn't let me see the video.
Well, you got to get a court order to get the video. They make it so hard. The Republicans made it hard to even get the body camera video that the people of Florida own. They did that around 2018 or 17 or 18. They went and made a law to keep the average everyday person from obtaining body cam video, which we the people own.
Right.
Now y'all make that make sense.
Right, and we pay for these body cams for transparency, and they hide it from us. So,
make that make sense.
And then if you the governor signed a law that if you film the police, you got to back up. They can back you up 60 feet or something like that. You can't. They don't. That's trampling all on your First Amendment rights right there, big time.
They treading it real close to what it
right.
is.
So every time you try to do something to hold the police accountable, and I'm not anti-police.
No.
My son is a police officer, you know.
And why we got to explain that every time we say something like that?
I know,
against the
but that's what I'm
police?
saying. I have to let people know that my son is a police officer.
No one's against the police.
Anybody that want to come on here and challenge me, oh, you're against the police? My son is a cop. So don't come for me. If you come for me, you come for me with facts. I'm just telling you, you know, from my experience. This is what I see.
From our lens.
Yeah, it's what we deal with. And, I remember I told the guys, I said, the way you walk out your house and the way I walk out my house is totally different.
Why don't people believe that, Tony, when we tell them that? Why do they find that so hard to believe when we try to give our experience from a black experience?
Sometimes I try to understand it for the simple fact, if something's never happened to me, then it's hard for me to believe that it's reality. It's just like sometimes you take some of the young kids that we have now. Some of these young kids that are young don't believe slavery took place because they're so far removed from it.
Right.
So and I try to understand it from that point of view. But just as I tell them, just as I try to understand why you don't see things the way I see them or how I've seen them out of my lens, I can't expect you to see them and don't expect me to see it your way. Neither. Because as I stated, how you walk out of your house,
right,
and how I walk out of my house, we think different. You don't think there's a possibility, and I told myself, you don't think there's a possibility that you might not make it home.
Right.
I say, but this is what, when you talk to the majority of black men, at some point we wonder when we leave out, well, we can't even say leave out the confines of our home now. When we wake up in the morning, is there a possibility that I will return to my home later that afternoon, whether it be, we have to deal with so many variables within our own community and without. So we deal with it in so many ways. So that's why I'm saying we have to worry about coming home, because like I said, at any point in time within our own community, this could happen to us. And not only our own community, by us just moving the wrong way, if we being stopped, could cost us our life. So we deal with it. That's what I try to explain that to them sometimes. It's hard for them because, like I say, they don't live that life, never have to live that life, never understand it. The way they're confronted and the way that we are confronted is totally different. When they come out of their home, and the way we come out of our home is totally different. So that's sometimes why you have to, you understand when it's hard, you can tell them, but it's hard for them to see it out of your lens, because their lens don't see what we see and don't deal with what we deal with.
Yeah, and and it's funny, y'all two had a story. I got a story, and this story here happened about, I would say it was over 30 something. It was about 30, I would say at least 30, 31, 32 years ago, where I pulled into my apartment complex, and I was sitting. I just went to rallies back in those days, the rallies, and I got something needed, and I came home, and I backed in at my apartment complex where I was at. When I backed in, I was gathering my stuff. Matter of fact, I had my gun because I had my concealed weapons license since I was 21. So I was gathering my gun up. My gun was sitting on the front seat, and I was gathering my food, and I was grabbing my gun. Unbeknownst to me, the police pulled up in the car, and the next thing I know, I'll never forget, he had a black 9mm Beretta. And he stuck that gun in that one thing. He said, "Get your fucking hands up. I'll blow your fucking brains out."
Sound like it.
Let me tell you something.
Y'all say.
I see he could have killed me.
Yeah.
And I was shaking because this man here, And then, you know, he tried to explain to me, talking about it was a rash of break-ins. Well, he pulled up. He didn't even identify himself. And if he would have killed me, my gun was right there on the seat. People to this day would have been like, oh, well, he had his gun out. He was reaching for his gun. Or he would have lied. I tell you, no lie. He would have lied. And I tell you what, though, right after he did that, me and him went at it out there. He tried to come. I mean, I told him I went off on him. Believe me, I cursed him out every which way Josephine and Bernard Adams taught me not to. I went slam off on him. And I told him about he could have killed me. And I told him, I said, call your sergeant out. He called the guy out there. And the guy came. The guy, for some unknown reason, the guy said, man, yeah, I know this guy. White guy, 2 white guys. He said, that guy, I see this guy all the time. And, you know, he's sitting over there trying to make light of the situation, talking about we can go drink a beer. I said, man, me and you ain't drinking nothing together.
We ain't drinking nothing right now.
I don't even want to hear about no beer over here. But, you know, as I think about it now, and it's the God-heaven truth, what I just told you. That guy,
that's crazy.
I just think how close I was to death. And I was out there alone. He would have shot me. He would have made up an excuse. He would have said I had a gun because my gun was in the pouch. I had it. I had the pouch open. Legally. But he still would have made up something, and he would have still been right now
on the police
collecting his pension right now today, knowing that he blowed a Negro away. And that's what he would have made some type of lie and justified it, and I would have been just one dead Negro right now. That's what would have happened. But before we leave, I want to play this. I want to play another video. This was at the funeral of U.S. Airman Roger Forston. And this is Dr. Jamal Bryant preaching at his funeral that day. A very, 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 very powerful sermon by Dr. Jamal Bryant. I just want people to hear this. I'm going to play it right now, and then we can come back and wrap it. We can come back, wrap it up with our final thoughts and whatever.
Are we really going to sit in this place today for almost 2 hours and not talk about how it is that Roger was killed in his own home with 6 bullets in his body without anybody identifying themselves? Are we really going to sit here today and act as if Roger died of cancer? Like that Roger died of a stroke, that Roger died of hypertension? Are you really going to sit here today as if Roger is the victim of gang violence? Are you really going to sit here today and act as if Roger died of a brain aneurysm? We got to call it as it is. Roger died of murder. He died of stone cold murder, and somebody has got to be held accountable. Are we going to feign as if Roger could not lawfully own a gun? Are we going to act as if because he was black, he was not protected by the Constitution he defended? Roger was 23 years old, a member of the United States Air Force, in his own house with a firearm that was registered and legal. And a police officer came to his door and shot him up like a dog in the street, as if he was not defending the rights of America all over the world. I gotta stop right here because I want to say to you what it is that a lot of you will not like, and that is Roger was better to America than America was to Roger. We owe him a debt of gratitude and a debt of thanksgiving. Roger had the Second Amendment on his side, and he had a right to bear arms. I want to say what may not be popular, but what is absolutely true. The preamble of the Constitution said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and have the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Roger had a right. And if George Zimmerman had a right to carry a gun, then Roger had a right. If Kyle Rittenhouse had a right to carry a gun, then Roger had a right. If Dylan Roof had a right, then Roger had a right. We've got to be able to defend the rights of those who love America and pledge allegiance to the flag. Are we really going to sit in this?
Wow, that was powerful.
That was very, very powerful by Dr. Jamal
that was
Bryant.
Powerful, man. And he's
New
right.
Birth pastor in Atlanta. He was very right.
Roger took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, protect and uphold the Constitution, as well as the police officer. They both are in uniform and took an oath of office to uphold the Constitution. And that very same oath that the police officer took, he went and violated it and killed this young man, 23 years old, in his own home. He went there banging on the door, and the man got scared. And without, you on the phone and you on the phone with your girlfriend and, your dog barking, you open the door, and he, with his gun in his hand. And just because he did that and didn't look through the peephole, he got executed, shot 6 times, killed in front of his dog, while his girlfriend was on FaceTime. And this is what you get. This is what you get.
And he's been mocked online by conservatives, by right wingers. And I don't like to compare politics, but the right wingers coming all at him, talking about, just making fun about his death, mocking his death. And they're a bunch of despicable people. Those people who mock someone's death like that anyway. So that's just the way that it is. And like I say, this is justice in America, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. Yes, we have made great strides. We have made great strides in America, but we also have a long way to go when it comes to American and policing. And it's a good book out there by reporter Wesley Lowery, and it's called "They Can't Kill Us All." I would advise everyone to get Wesley Lowery's book and read it. It's called "They Can't Kill Us All," and Wesley Lowery was a reporter that was covered Ferguson. He covered Baltimore. He's on MSNBC. He does a lot of the special reporting. Very good reporter, very thorough. But again, get his book, "They Can't Kill Us All" by Wesley Lowery. And it explains a lot about policing in America.
And Angela Howard says, true, he was better to America than America was to him. That's true. And,
yes.
Yep.
We hope this family gets some justice. They've hired attorney Ben Crump. Everybody knows who Ben Crump is, and
they're attacking him, calling him an ambulance chaser and all of that.
He shows up after the facts and all of this and that. Where was he?
He's race baiting.
Where's the father and all of this and that? And where
that's crazy.
Fatherless homes.
They left. Well, that officer left of 2 fatherless kids when the daughter. He had a daughter and a son.
Yeah,
they're both fatherless right now.
So these are the things that we get when black people get, it's executed here in America. But that's why we podcast and that's why we speak up. Some people might not like what we have to say, but these are our opinions.
It's going to be like this. This is engaging conversation.
This is our opinions, and this is what we talk about when we're off the air, and this is what we talk about while we're on the air.
Yep.
And we don't sugarcoat anything. If you know Tony, if you know Wayne and Daryl, we don't sugarcoat anything. And
this is not to attack the police.
No,
this is engaging conversation. This is elevating the dialogue. People might not be used to that, but this is where we are. We're going to keep these type of conversations going. We're going to have Tony and back on here for a lot of other things and other people too. If we could have got some more, I wish we could have got, I tried some of the law enforcement people, but they were busy because I wanted to have another perspective. But this is our perspective right here from the black experience here. And people can disagree. That's cool.
And, again, we're going to reach out to the family of Mr. Forston and see if we can reach him. And I know they've hired an attorney, and the attorney probably told him not to talk to the media, let him do that. And we understand that. So it's kind of hard to get people like that if you're not mainstream media, CNN or, Fox or whatever. But we will reach out to them. Maybe they will. You never know.
I reached out to Attorney Crump.
You never know.
Yeah.
So we want to thank Tony Sands for coming in, man, and chiming in and chopping it up. Helping us dissect this and talk about it, man, and break it down, man. We appreciate your expertise, brother.
My pleasure, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always. And don't forget about Wednesday. We're gonna have Miss Brittany Buckner here on our True Crime Podcast at 6 p.m. Her daughter Destiny Buckner was murdered in the Fort Lauderdale area. And she was actually we met her at your gun violence symposium that you had down in Lauderhill about 3 weeks ago, man. So thank you for having her on your platform to bring awareness to gun violence in Broward County, man. Any closing remarks you want to make before we go?
Yeah. We're looking to, as we talked about the gun violence, Mothers Against Gun Violence movement, we're looking now to try to either bring that same symposium to Pompano or Deerfield. So right now, I'm going to be in the midst of contacting some of the commissioners from either being from this area or Pompano and propose that same setup symposium to everyone that's in these two communities. I would love to really try to bring it to Deerfield, as the next spot to do it, or we take it out the state and take it on the road. But I'm gonna sit down with them and just see if it is something that they're open to. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But it's worth a try.
Pompano might be your best choice.
Yeah.
I think Pompano would probably be a better choice there. Or
we can't give up
but
on
I mean, you can try here though. But good luck.
Yeah.
We got.
We're gonna keep up the fight, man. I tell you, the struggle is real, but we're here for the long run, man. The long haul, man. I should say. I want to thank Tony Sands, Sensational Sands, for joining us here.
Coming in.
You're always welcome on this podcast, man. We appreciate your expertise, man, and your
thank you.
Just your overall knowledge of so many subjects, a variety of different subjects, man, from sports to community news to everything, national news, man. Appreciate you, man, and keep up the good work over there at your training. What's that, D1 training?
Not D1, no.
It's not D1 anymore?
Now.
No. I'll tell you, we're in commercial. We're off commercial now, man. Doing some outstanding things with a lot of athletes, man. I was in there today my day started at 6 and ended at 6. I said, I'll get home by 6:30 to get on the air. But like I said, man, I'm getting ready to release my second book. My second book will be released on June 30th, man. It's in depth. It's on pre-sale right now on Amazon, man. And it's like I said, it's going to be one that really looks at your faith when you talk about where your faith is and how your faith is lined up. And I put up a phrase, and I'm gonna leave with that. I put up a phrase last week, and I said, "Do your fear outweigh your faith?" And sometimes we don't really. Some people don't really know that situation till they're put in a situation,
right?
And it finds out, are you really faith? Stop. Or are we just floating until a situation, if I have to go the other way and come back to faith? So this book is going to dig deep into that, man. Because it was something that I had lived. So I had to anchor down in my faith and follow it all the way through and understand what your vows mean. When you make a vow, you pay it. How you do it, you pay it. And so as we get closer to that, I'll come back on and we'll start getting into that, because like I said, it is a deep topic. And a lot of people don't realize, and it clears up a lot of things. So that's my next project.
Hey, man.
All right.
We appreciate you, man. All you got to do is let us know, man. You can come on
Anytime.
here, man, and talk about your book. Talk about anything you want, man. We always appreciate you, man.
We'll further our conversations.
Yes, sir. Sir.
All righty.
All right, man. We've been talking to Tony Get Sensational Sands, man.
Everyone out there have a good
Everybody have a
evening.
wonderful evening, man. Be safe, and we'll see you here on Wednesday at 6 p.m. for our True Crime Podcast. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.